I would like to check if Bersan is ready for this one, and we should be ready to take off. Bersan, are you presenting? And I can't see your slide on the screen.
I'll share it in a second.
Okay, you are welcome, Bersan. And then we
Thanks,
have
Lubowani.
Herman Bosman as the session scribe. It's over to you, sir.
Thanks, Lubowani. Yes, this framework, it is the development and support framework for STEMI Olympiads and related competitions. Was put together in 2020, and consultations were held since July last year with STEMI and provincial departments of education. Today, we're bringing it to the community of practice, and we want to finally adopt it here with you. So if we, and as mentioned, it was on the website, and we hope that you accessed it and could read it. If we should go back to the address by the Deputy Minister yesterday, as well as the presentation done by Isaac Ramova on transformation, it's clear that we need to respond to what the landscape is about. And Einstein said that it is insanity to do the same thing over and over, hoping that you'll get a different result. And the time has come that we need to do something different in this Olympiad environment. And we, as the department, the government, we need to intervene where the market fails, meaning where things are left on its own. We've tried things, and the we saw the presentations that the landscape is just not correct. So this is the outline of the presentation. So if we look at the policies, the white paper on science and technology and innovation of 2019, there's very clear, there's a policy intent to support a science literate society and a science aware society. The challenge about this policy intent is that many people live beyond the reach of the science awareness campaigns. So there's already, it's identified at a very high level. So the science engagement strategy talks about the purpose of STEMI Olympiads and competitions being to physically and mentally engage learners with STEM. So it's a good thing at the Olympiads. Here are two well-known South Africans, Professor Mawala and Mark Shuttleworth. Quickly, if you don't know, Professor Mawala is the rector of the University of Johannesburg. He's also been appointed by the president as the main person to lead us on the fourth industrial revolution committee or commission. And what do you think would be the common factor between these two South Africans? What do they have in common? Both of them participated in Olympiads and competitions when they were at school. And these are movers and shakers around the world. Let's go back to the landscape challenge that we have. So it's clear that we need to increase the participation of learners. We are probably 500,000, if we're lucky, uh, participants in the Olympiads, in STEM Olympiads. There are 13 million learners. The work is waiting for us. We need to increase the participation. We need to address the matters of gender, disability, race, and geography, where people are, and that more areas in the country need to participate. And then plain and simply, the access by quintile 1, 2, and 3 schools must be addressed. So these are the major landscape challenges that we are sitting with. So To, uh, to turn around the current landscape, the following enabling environment needs to be created. We need to build a coordinated system or develop collaborative networks to address these problems. We need to build a problem solving skills in the schooling system. Problem solving skills need to be developed. We need to foster meaningful and inclusive participation. We can't just have also thousands of learners participating and they score 0 or 1 out of 50 or 100. It needs to be meaningful also. And then we need to lay the foundation for a science literate society. So these are the matters that we call the enabling environment that we need to create. So we've also identified some guiding principles to be adopted in this framework. To include some of them, there are opportunities to promote the priority areas of the Department of Science and Innovation, for example, astronomy. Olympics and competitions complement the math, science, and technology education, which is led by the Basic Education Department. There are also commercialization opportunities for learners' projects if it's taken to its logical conclusion. There are opportunities for exposure to intellectual property literacy, awareness around IP issues. And then, yes, the inclusive participation is clearly something we need to look at in line of the transformation agenda that was clearly outlined by Isaac yesterday. So if we look at the fourth industrial revolution and the future of work, and then the related skills for the future role of work, how can Olympics and competitions respond to that? And after looking at it, the landscape, we have found, or we are proposing to look at 4 skills sets to be contributed through the Olympiads. And these 4 we have now identified. They are science knowledge enhancement. Secondly, the promotion of mathematical proficiency. Thirdly, encourage scientific and technological innovation. And fourthly, robotics and coding. So these are the 4 main areas that we want to advance through the Olympiads, addressing 4IR: science, maths, innovation, and robotics and coding. So we're looking at a national coordination model, and we are proposing that lead agents in collaboration with implementing partners must work on these 4 areas. So they are given a list of some of the features of these, what a lead agent and an implementing partner should be. But let me unpack it. These are basic requirements that an organization we expect to have. But let me go to here. So we propose, after scanning the landscape, that the following 4 uh, organizations take the lead concerning these 4 areas. In science, the South African Agency for Science and Technology Advancement, better known as SASTA, which is the host of the National Science Olympiad, to take the lead on science. Secondly, for mathematics, that the South African Maths Foundation take the lead on that one. Then on innovation, ESCOM Expo for Young Scientists to take the lead there. And then on robotics and coding, we identified ISET, which is part of the UNISA, as well as the Tshwane University of Technology together to take the lead on robotics and coding. So our proposal is to have these four organizations, actually five, work on and taking the lead concerning these four areas that have been identified. So an implementing partner will then be issued a certificate by the lead agent, but the implementing partner will maintain its own identity. They'll have operational independence. They obviously need to adhere to minimum operating standards. But we have a very open mind around the implementing partners. We are obviously looking at organizations that can implement, but we are thinking even at local level. If a group of teachers in one township want to work together and make a difference for their learners, for example, in mathematics, and they want to organize some competitions and activities for their learners, they can put together a plan, a program, and they slot it in under the work of the lead agents. For example, problem solving in mathematics. And we are open to such smaller organizations and structures being coming in to add so that we can reach those townships and rural areas that we just cannot find people to reach. So we have a broad understanding of implementing partners, and there could be hundreds of smaller groups and teachers and organizations that can become implementing partners. So funding support for the lead agents as well as the implementing partners, it doesn't mean if the government is going to sponsor them that they can't get other sponsors. They can have, if they have existing arrangements with other corporate sponsors, we won't interfere with that. Then to get the sponsorship from or the support from SASTA, uh, that will happen through the grant management system of SASTA. Lead agents will be asked to um, develop 3-year proposals that must be submitted to SASTA. And these proposals will then become part of a master plan into which the implementing partners need to fit in. And we'll definitely work with the provincial departments of education to assist us in this process. Then we definitely would want to continue the support we already give to a STEMI. That those benefits we think need to continue. This very conference that we are in today, the STEMI COP, need to continue. There are massive benefits to this structure and activity. And then we need to also think of and we consider an annual national event for recognition of top performers around the country, but also at different levels, looking at from local to regional to provincial to national. But we believe that a national award ceremony could be a good way to go. And then the lead agents should also lead on the way of opening doors to international competitions and legs that come from local legs. Then the coaching and mentoring programs, I think these are very important. We've debated this in previous conferences. And yes, plans need to be generated by the 4 lead agents areas. And we believe, and it was highlighted also by the Deputy Minister on yesterday, was that professionals need to really start stepping up. And we need to get a national database of professionals that's available. And then, yes, they are scientists and engineers and professionals, but I think we also need to provide them with training and support for them to be good coaches and mentors. They could be great scientists, but maybe they're not fully aware of how to translate things down to simplify things for learners at school level. So The coaching and mentoring is a very important component that we need to develop and expand. And then a very important aspect is that we need to know how we get to the schools. Now, the Department of Science and Innovation signed collaboration agreements with the provincial departments of education. And through those agreements, we plan to facilitate the development of annual plans with the provinces. And this would include all the DSI supported extracurricular activities, which will then include the Olympiads and competitions. So in our deliberations with the provinces, we develop provincial plans and we agree on what will be done and with the provinces so that there's no confusion in the system that five different robotics competitions arrive at the same school. We want to avoid such things, that there's a structured way of accessing the schools with the full support of the provinces and then assisting us in taking our programs to their learners. Lastly, the role of SASTA. SASTA's role would be to disperse grant funding, to organize awards events, to collect and process the performance data. That's very important. We have um, performance indicators for the Olympiads. It's part of our work, and we want to see how things are working and changing and track them. Then they will also be implementing the science enhancement role as a lead agent for now. And then they need to provide the logistical support where needed. Ladies and gentlemen, that's it. Now, it's time for us to consider and adopt. We've had this framework, we've had feedback from a STEMI, we've presented it to provinces, education province departments, and now we have this framework, and I would want us to see if there are any matters that may be a matter of concern, but you've had access to it now for the past few days. It's been around by the organizers. They've had it for many months, and I'm putting it to the conference for adoption.